Hey, it's me again. Welcome back to Platinum TV. We're on the mechanic side again today. And before we get started, I'd like to say Happy Father's Day to everybody out there that's listening, to who are fathers. If you're not, same to you still. It's all counted. So today, on a Kia Soul. Next customer came in. The AC compressor is not working. Not cooling the vehicle, and it's making noise. So this is the AC compressor that we're gonna be replaced. This is a new one. It comes with 2 studs for the lines, new O-rings. So we're about to go get this out and install a new one. So I'll show you the quick easy steps to get it out. So let's get started. Alright, so first thing we need to do, we need to loosen up the alternator. That's what holds the tensions to the belt. So there's a nut here, a locking nut to the side. We need to loosen that first, and then release the adjustment screw. What we do, release the locking nut, and then back. Get back out the adjustment screw, and when you get it enough, you should be able to slide the alternator forward. Push the alternator forward. With that doing, the belt is now released. Now you can go to the bottom and start disconnecting the compressor. Oh, I forgot to say, yes, I already evacuated the system, so there's no freon in the system. So let's get to the bottom and disconnect that compressor. Alright, so now we're to the bottom of the car. We can disconnect these AC lines first. We're gonna get these lines out of the way so we can get to the compressor. Moving the lines make it much easier, otherwise you will never get this thing out. So what you need is a 12mm socket and a ratchet. What you do, you get it up in there, break that bolt, take it loose, and then you come on the other side and get the other bolt as well. There's two lines, 1 bolt each. So you break it loose, take it out. Once you get the bolt loose, you can unscrew it by hand. If you get big hands, then you got to know how to work it to get them out. This is one of the bolts. So, like me, I got big hands, so I have to find different positions to get my hands up in there to get it out. There we go, second bolt. Once you get the bolts out, you just wiggle the lines until it come loose. Just wiggle on the lines, they should come loose, and you can tuck them up on the side to get them out the way. And since the belt is loose already, you just slide the belt off the pulley for the compressor. And that's it, it's out the way. Next step is to release the compressor, which is 4 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all 12mm as well, so you don't have to switch your socket. So we're going to start by trying to remove these bolts. You got to break the bolts. And pull the screws out, which is here. It's not that hard, just I'll always do the bottom bolts, leave one bottom bolt for last. because when you pull it, you don't want the compressor falling on you, so do leave the bottom bolt for last and take the top ones out first. So now we got one more bolt left. What we're going to do, we're going to disconnect this harness from the compressor from up top to take it loose before we pull this last bolt. So right down in here where I'm pointing at, that's the harness you need to disconnect from the compressor. Once you pull it, it's disconnected. Now it's time to go back to the bottom. So the harness is disconnected. Now we can pull the last bolt. Keep a hand on the compressor when you're removing the last bolt so it don't fall on you. Keep a hand on it. Once you pull it, compressor slides right out. So right now the compressor is out. We just got it out. This is how it looks. So now we're about to install the new one and put it up into its place. Alright, so now we're going to get the new compressor ready. So it comes plugged already with two holders in there. But when you get your compressor, it comes with instructions. Read it carefully, because this one here, it comes with the new type of oil inside of it. This car doesn't use that type of oil. It uses PAG oil. It says it comes with the 1234 YF oil. So we got to drain all of that out of the compressor and get it out the system and put the recommended oil in it. So when you get it, please read in case they fill it with a different oil, so you might have to drain it, depends on your vehicle. Get your oil pan. Compressor, and you flip it over and you rotate the clutch clockwise and get all the oil out of it that you can while rotating it. So we're going to drain the whole system now. We need to get this oil out of there. So just rotate it. Keep rotating that clutch until all the oil is drained. It may take a little bit, but we got to get it out. Okay, now the oil is drained. We got to do a transfer of these pins from the old compressor to the new one. The new one didn't come with the pins, so you have to reuse the old pins. All you need is a pair of pliers or vice grip, whichever one can clamp it the best. You just hold on to the base of it, you wiggle, and you turn it. And then you put it in the new side and you tap it in. So does the other one. Just get hold of it. It may be a little rough, it may be a little tight, depends on how long it's been in there. But once you get it out, just transfer it over and that'll be it. We don't need this anymore. So now the two pins are in. What we're about to do, we're about to put some dye in the system. This shows that if there is a leak, once you fill it, you will see it. Good practice is to always put dye in the system. So if there's any problems, the dye will show and you know where to pinpoint your problem at if there's a leak. Now we drain all the new type of compressor oil, which is 1234 YF. That's what this compressor came with, so we drained it. Now we're about to put the PAG oil in the system, the correct oil that's for the system. So once again, please read your labels and what it comes with. This compressor takes about 2 ounces of fluid. So we're gonna fill it, and once you put the oil in, you rotate the clutch and make sure it's all good and sucked down into the system. So we're gonna put 2 ounces of oil back into the compressor. All right, so we are ready to put the compressor back in. So it's just like before, you're just doing it in reverse. You put it up and you line it up against the block. Now we have the compressor lined up, bolts in by hand. You can now tighten them. Always double check your bolts. I use an air tool. I use an air ratchet, so I'm going to double check with a regular ratchet now. Make sure everything is nice and tight. Good and tight. So now we already double checked the bolts. We're about to put the lines back on. So when you're putting your lines on, don't forget. Let me see if you can see it. Don't forget to replace the O-rings, which is on the line. Can't turn it. There we go. Don't forget to replace these O-rings, these green O-rings. You don't replace them, and make sure you lube them before you put them back on, before you put the lines in. Those can also cause problems if you don't do it. So these O-rings has been replaced. We just gotta slide these lines back on. Don't force the lines when you're putting them on as well. Just wiggle them into place. Everything should fall in. You put the nut back in there and you put it in by hand. Screw it in by hand and it should go in easily. Get the nut and you put it on. Now the lines are back installed. That's it. We are finished with the bottom. Lines installed. Nuts are back in. That's it. So all we got to do is slide the belt back onto the compressor from the bottom and reconnect the top to finish up the installation. So now we're back to the top. We're going to take the connector and plug it back into the harness. Once you get that in, recheck your belt. Make sure it's sitting on all the pulleys. If not, adjust it. And once everything is adjusted, what you can do, you can pull your alternator back and tighten the adjusting nut. Check the tension of your belt. You don't want it to be too tight. You don't want your belt to be too tight, so make sure you check the tension of the belt. 90-degree turn is where you want it at. Once you get it to that tension, you tighten the locking bolt. And you lock that in place. The belt is back on. So the compressor is in, so the last step is to replace the expansion valve, which is this. 2 nuts, 1 bolt right here. So we get that replaced right now. Alright, so first thing we do, 12mm wrench, and we're gonna get this side nut here loosened. Disconnect this line here from the side nut. So the bolt is loose, so you pull it out and get that out the way. And what you want to do is loosen up these 2 10mm as well. So loosen up these 2 bolts here with a 10mm. Those should remove it. Just break the nuts. And remove them. So pull the bolt out, Supposed to be able to wiggle this off. Now, this bracket here can be a pain to get off. That's what's stuck to this, so you might have to pry it off. There you go. And we just pop it off. So now we gotta install a new one. These the O-rings as well, which have to be replaced. So always replace your O-rings that comes with it. So once you replace your O-rings, you take the new one and you slide it in and you lines it up. And once you get that lined up, you can install it to the rear and make sure it's on. So you push it in, make sure it sits flush and secure. And then you put your bolts back in. Put those in first, and then you do the one on the side last. If you get big hands like mine's, you might have a little trouble putting it back in because it's a small space, but patience is the key to do it. Screw it in by hand, make sure it holds. Always tighten by hand at first. This is a very delicate bolt and holes. This is aluminum. This aluminum is not very well. It's cheap, but you don't want to go in there with an air tool or cordless tool and tighten them right away. You can actually mess it up. So make sure you go in by hand at first. Once you put it in by hand, you just tighten it with the ratchet. Same as this one. You just put the ratchet in and we tighten it. Tighten it with the ratchet until it's all the way flush. Now for the last phase, the third phase, we got to evacuate the system and fill it with Freon. So let's get that set up so you can see how to do it. So now we got the system hooked up to pull the vacuum, the 5 CFM pump. I'm hooked into the back with the blue line, yellow line to the green. We're about to get it started and have it suck all the air out to the system. We're going to make it go for about 15 minutes. Alright, 15 minutes has gone. Vacuum is completed. System is holding. I did a leak check. Everything is good. So we're about to disconnect this and have it set up now to put the Freon back into the system. So let's disconnect and then have it ready for the Freon. Alright, so I got my Freon tank hooked up. I got my gauges hooked up. Everything is ready. So what we gotta do, crank the vehicle, raise the RPMs up to 1500 so the compressor can kick in and suck the Freon in. So let's get that done. So now RPM is raised. We're going to release the Freon into the system. And we're going to fill it. So as we can see, all 34 is in blue. We are cooling. We're down to 40 degrees. Oh, my bad. We're in the blue section. All 34 in. We're down to 40 degrees. System is full and cooling. So we are good to go. AC is working properly. Inside is ice cold. So AC system is finished. Everything is charged, working operating temperature. Last check I like to do, since I put the dye in the system, the car been running, I got a black light. I like to go over the AC lines and everything, make sure there's no leaks, make sure there's no dye came out and be showing. All we do is run the black light alongside the lines, down to the compressor, all the way back up, and just verify that there's no dye coming through. If you see dye, that means there's a leak, and everything is looking good where the black light is shining. The black light will show a UV on it. Let me show you how it looks. 1 second. So this is how the dye looks. I put a smudge on my hand right there, and once you shine the black light on it, it shows up really green right there. This is how it should look once you shine the black light green, and it will show up on the system if there's a leak. So system is fine, no leaks, no dye, we're good to go. So AC system complete. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching Platinum VI TV. And once again, happy Father's Day to all. We out. Peace.